My mother once went through our cleaning lady's purse, and what she found changed how I saw her forever. This wasn't just about stolen items, it was about something so much bigger. Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Binge Eater. So, this memory of my mother and our Klepto cleaning lady really stuck out in my mind for all of my life. And at times when I found it hard to do something like have a difficult conversation or just push through something that was incredibly uncomfortable, I thought of this instance. So what happened was it's early 70s, mid 70s, and my family had the traditional household. My dad got dressed in a suit and went to work each day, and my mom was home. She was a stay-at-home mom. I was very blessed that way. She cooked for us. She did lots of activities with us. She had civic duties, but she didn't have a job per se, besides everything she was already doing. So it was the usual gender roles, if you will. And as such, she was also somewhat passive, deferring to my dad and his strength and his voice. And that kind of bothered me because I wanted my mom to have a career and to be outspoken and strong. But the thing is, there was that moment when our cleaning lady apparently was stealing things from our home, and my mother was picking up on it and noticing and coming to the point where she needed to take action. And she did. One day, she went straight to this cleaning lady's purse and opened it up and found two of my stuffed animals. My stuffed animals. So it was confirmed this woman was stealing from us, and not big things, but probably the big things too, right? Jewelry and things that are super valuable. And so she confronted her and she fired her. And I remember her telling me the story, and I was probably, I don't know, 8 or so. But it made an impression on me because my mother, who wasn't always ostensibly strong, with a strong voice, she did something uncomfortable and strong. And I remembered that. So that moment really stuck with me, not because of what she found, but because of what she did. You know, the version of my mom I thought I knew was transformed in that moment to something that I didn't really recognize, but really made an impression for me. You know, and the bottom line is strength doesn't always look loud or dominant. Sometimes it's quiet, it's decisive, and yeah, it's walking through uncomfortable things. And isn't that what we need to do as emotional eaters? So often, my experience as an emotional eater and as somebody who's worked with thousands of emotional eaters, we tend to ignore our intuition. You know, something feels off and we don't act on it. Oh my gosh, how many times have I done that? Also, we avoid confrontation. And I find that to this day, I have to really push myself to bring up something uncomfortable, to walk through the uncomfortable feelings of confronting a situation that I need to take a stand on. We're also people pleasers as emotional eaters, right? We want everybody to like us, which means we don't want to make waves, which means we don't want to speak up and call something out when we know it needs to be called out. And then, of course, as emotional eaters, we stuff down that intuition. We don't express ourselves. Instead, we push that need. We push that voice, that knowing down with food. So we may not be confronting a cleaning lady in our lives, but we're constantly faced with moments where something just doesn't feel right. We often say yes when we mean no. We oftentimes don't speak up in a relationship. We might have signals in our body, like in our gut, in our throat chakra, and we ignore them. And we also let resentment build. And then what do? Instead of saying what we need to say, or maybe we say it in a really passive-aggressive way, or we just resort to binging, right? Pushing that voice down. So every time we don't speak up, we abandon ourselves. Every time we abandon ourselves, ultimately it turns to overeating. And actually, my mom is an incredibly intuitive woman, and I really love that about her. She's always had that feeling, that gut feeling. She didn't always act on it, I will say. Of course, I learned from the best. But in this moment with the cleaning lady, she did, and that really moved me. So I want to ask you, where in your life do you feel like something is off, but you're not addressing it? You can start small. What do you need to say something about? You don't need a big dramatic confrontation, but practice telling the truth in low stakes situations. Like when you know you need to say something, just say it. And my clients know I often say what you mean what you say, and don't say it mean. Courage isn't about being fearless, so don't wait till you're not afraid. I get afraid when I have to say my truth in situations where it may not be well received, or I may not be patted on the head for speaking up and using my voice. But, I have to act in spite of being uncomfortable, in spite of major discomfort. So important to know, healing your relationship with food requires strengthening your relationship with your voice. And this is a lot of what I do with my clients is we are using our voice. We are learning and practicing speaking up and taking up space and saying, this is how I feel. This is what I need. It's so important. If we don't, we will continue to overeat. So that day, my mother showed me what it looks like to trust yourself. And I'm so glad she did. She trusted her gut. She did something super uncomfortable, opening the purse of somebody, and she was right. And I sure hope that cleaning lady got help for her problem. I'm sure it was a compulsion that she had little control over, just like us and food. So, what would it look like for you to trust your gut? For you to follow that thing inside of you that's saying something's off. And so I want to encourage you to just follow that, follow the clues, take the action. And you can talk it over with somebody else first before you do something confronting that takes a lot of courage. Talk it over. That'll help you gain the courage or at least get clarity. But the bottom line is you need to say it instead of stuff it. Say it, don't stuff it. And that's a good takeaway for all of us who have a relationship with food that we want to improve. So that's my story. I love you so much. I'll see you in the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.